Grown black folks talk. Stockton Rush, Themis, Cynthia, and the danger of safety theater for black women. The term here is safety theater. It is a stupidly hot day in San Francisco. Y'all will see me glowing, but it kind of fits the situation I find myself in this weekend because someone sent me Themis and Thought for October 4th. And this person is dear to me, has been a victim of abuse, and was incredibly triggered. And not only triggered by, largely just because the lack of empathy, not only expressed by Cynthia G, but also by so many black women in that chat. Now, for those of you who follow the channel for a little while, y'all already know what I think about Cynthia G. I don't need to go down that road again. I don't expect humane behavior, but Cynthia, I don't hate you. And having observed what happened there, you in danger, girl, too. Safety theater ain't safe for nobody. I'm telling you, you in danger too. You got put on notice, and whether you know it or not, you were threatened by the host. Themis, you're a lawyer. You asked a particular pointed question to put her on notice that she couldn't boss up in your space. But you really should not put her out there like that. I'll come back to it because, like I said, in safety theater, nobody's safe. But the reason I'm addressing this is because I don't play about mine. And because Themis did not vet me before bringing me on as a moderator. I started interacting with the show in like November, December 2021 and was made a moderator, didn't ask for it, but just handed a wrench. It's an honor to be handed a wrench. But see, the thing about me is I don't play about mine. See, I do work to make sure that people are not unnecessarily triggered because I don't play about mine. And so, since some of the members of the House of Themis are now my subscribers, now I got to address this because I don't play about mine. I don't play about their welfare. A little bit later, we'll talk about the level of responsibility I have in life. I don't play about mine. I don't play about mine to 9 figures of responsibility. So when people I care about come to be hurt because of something someone else did, we're going to have to address that. But we're going to go at it this way. Because I also watched Petty's 3 hour response. Now, not all of it. We still doing these 4.5 hour shows, just sitting up here triggering people for content. At least it's better than 6, 8, and 11, which were some of the last shows that I did on Themis and Thought, but we're making some progress. But between Petty and Themis, that took 6 hours of my time. And I haven't watched you completely, Petty, but I picked up the most important things that you said and the most important things that Level Up Single Mom said. I'll come back to that. But let me talk about why Stockton Rush is in the video. Safety theater is the term that one of his employees who was sent home for asking a good question said that he participated in. Other people who knew Stockton Rush casually thought of him as charming, funny, a calm and caring leader on top of his details. He also was the target of black women's hypergamy who want a white man, more than 6 feet tall, more than six-figure money, and definitely a 666 attitude. Because if you knew him well enough over a long enough period of time, you found out that if you crossed Stockton Rush and tried to tell him that what he was doing was wrong, he would run you into the ground. The whistleblower was a man named David Lockridge, and David Lockridge saw pieces of that carbon fiber with holes in it, a 5-inch hole that you could shine a light through. He brought it to the hearing that the Coast Guard was having. And so that was the first hole that Stockton Rush built. The second hole was built exactly the same way. So David Lockridge and a whole lot of other people tried to alert Stockton. He ran these people out of the country. But here's the crazy part. David Lockridge saved his life on one diet. But because he embarrassed the CEO, Stockton Rush turned on him. Literally took almost a year time trying to destroy that man, only to have him vindicated and be alive while Stockton Rush is dead. And not only is Stockton Rush dead, the 4 people that went down there with him are dead. Their families are hurting. Everybody who has OceanGate on their resume is going to be staying with this for life. The only people who are going to have a chance to move on with their lives are the people that got out of there. And of course, Stockton Rush still has his defenders. His wife, of course, his widow will not speak against him. Wendy Rush, we expect that. She's also connected to some very powerful families, so she really doesn't have to. Renata Rojas, and I forget the name of that other gentleman, Mr. Fred Hagen. They loved this man, and they refused, even at an official inquest, to say a word against him. Their testimony contrasted so violently with the concepts that many other people were presenting. They loved him, and they couldn't see it, and they still don't. Because again, he was a hypergamy person's thirst trap. Mr. Hagen said about him that he believed in him that he was going to be the one to colonize the oceans and adventure in the unconquered parts of the world. I'm like, y'all love your fellow colonizer, don't you? Y'all love this image of a man like you going forth and conquering because you born too late and you tired. And Miss Rojas, you just want to go for the ride. I understand. He made your lifetime dream come true. So you gonna cover for him. He done got 4 people killed with himself playing safety theater because he used to have very detailed meetings where they would talk. They had a 3-strike system where they would talk about things that were going on, and if they had 3 strikes, they wouldn't dive and all the rest. Meanwhile, the woman that got sent home was looking at the gauge data for dive number 80. And the gauge data from dive number 80 said there was a big bang. So she looked at the data afterwards and to see the strain on a certain part of the ship, the submersible, was increasing, but she didn't know enough. She just tried to get somebody to look at it. Well, the 3 people that could have looked at it and said, "Ain't nowhere in the world," had already been put out, and they sent her home. Thing only made 88 dives. It imploded on the 88th dive. And the fact that it's moving on, the fact that it's moving toward imploding is seen in dive 81, dive 82, and dive 83. So a woman, I believe her name was Miss Wiley, found the evidence and they had it. And Stockton Rush was just like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And continued for another year to play safety theater and charm people and be a thirst trap. People used to show up at OceanGate, according to this hearing, in bikinis. Now, I will say this for Stockton Rush. Everybody said about him, he didn't pay any attention to that. But that was kind of energy that he drew around him. So, but as far as anybody know, see, Stockton and Wendy belong to the 2 families that they whatever they did, if you get that rich and that connected, whatever you do, you don't take the low hanging fruit. It's not worth all that. We talking about millions and billions of dollars. But this charming, handsome, tall, well connected man played safety theater to the day that he and everyone aboard this vessel died. And no matter how much Renata Rojas loved him, had she been in that boat, she was out there on a mission. If someone had decided to give up their seat or couldn't get there, she would have grabbed it. She would be gone. Fred Hagen was on the boat when one of the pre-disaster incidents happened and said, well, I'd already done my dive. So he was on the boat with the incident where the strain gauge was going to pick this up. This data was going to pick this up. Well, I'd already done my dive, so I wasn't really worried about it. He was 3 dives from death himself. But I ain't involved in this. It's not. So they all still are holding up the safety theater. But we all have the footage of what that did now. What you can't see is the damage that it done to the families of all the people connected to this in any way. Because when you play safety theater, nobody's safe. Stockton Rush is dead too. Why am I talking about safety theater? Because I watched the entire October 4th show. Themis made it his business to push back on Cynthia G, talking about if you keep going back, you're consenting to be abused. He pushed her back over the course of an hour to consent has to do with volition. You go back, but you don't go back to be abused. He pushed it back to contributory behavior. But see, Patty spilled the beans. This conversation was planned in advance. It's not like Themis had to be surprised. See, what people don't, I'm going to tell y'all some things about me that you don't know. I am a professional investigator by training, an investigative journalist. My community had a $60 million problem and could not hire an investigator. I stepped up, broke that case. So I know things about discovery and evidentiary procedure, and I know something about good lawyers, because boy, did we have a good lawyer. In the end, boy, did we have a good lawyer. You don't go out with your co-counsel without agreeing on what you're going to talk about if you try to move the court of public opinion one way or another. So if they did not prepare and this Themis was genuine and slut shocked, that's kind of falling below the level of two professionals, quite below. But it is just as likely because of what Petty said, but that they did know what they were going to talk about. And Petty said very specifically that I expected Cynthia to take the most difficult side of the argument. So I'm like, so you all had a debate on the channel for content with neither of you giving two dead flies that you have 23,000 subscribers. And if your co-host comes in talking about how foolish and how dumb Black women are, you're going to put them in a state of defensiveness, meaning you cannot help them even if you want to. And you two either did plan or didn't plan. But either way, both of you are responsible for that happening. Both of you used Black women's pain to build your channel. And Cynthia, you have no choice since Themis is now platforming you. Themis, you do have a choice, and you chose to do that. And because I understand how your profession works and how you've been trained, because you talk about the studies that you've done. Let me tell you something else that happened. Cynthia, you in danger, girl. Because you're gonna come up talking about women need to be in their masculine and got pushed back to being your opinion and emotionally defending it. You just got outed as another emotional woman who just has an opinion. And the person that did that to you was the man you disrespected and tried to boss up on, talk down on, and talk over. He let you know you still in the patriarchy. And the way that he let you know is to ask you if you think a Black woman who is a single mother once is just as foolish as the women you're talking about. And he let you sit there and twist in the wind. Just know that I know why you were discomforted. And that I, as a Black woman, looking at you with compassion you do not possess, know that if a man cares about you with all his interrogatory skills, he shouldn't have done that to his friend. And Themis, you then had the audacity to talk about how you're very protective of your audience. No, because you and Cynthia could have found a way to present this to the people that was not going to trigger them if that was true. Let me tell you how else I know that that's not true. I'll put the links in the description. June 17th, 2022, June 18th. On October the 4th, you and Cynthia made an entire mess for an hour going back and forth about this. You made it your business to argue her down publicly. You reduced her to an opinionated Black woman live. And then you let a man come up and take your already triggered subscribers and trigger them again. And this is the exact same thing that you did on June 17th and June 18th of 2022. On October 4th, you used Alicia and Kiana and the Rat Girl to clean up. You used me to clean up on June 17th, 2022. And then you turned around and let Stan the Man come up there on June 18th and traumatize your audience again and had Tiff and Cynthia and Rochelle Glendeborn going around. Rochelle was being just as uncompassionate in the chat on October the 4th. So basically, you gonna sit there and talk about how protective you are of your audience? We got 27 months of evidence to say no, sir. So you kind of get your choices there. There's a very specific legal definition of perjury. But it could also be in 27 months that you've just been doing the foolery so long, you just forgot that you can't say that because you got evidence on your page that you're not telling the truth. And I was your moderator from January, February, March, April, and May. And if you look in the chat on June 17th, ladies and gentlemen, you will say that people came in already asking not to let these bad boys come up here and talk down to us again. Because ultimately, who is responsible for who gets to come up and talk on the channel? It was very noticeable, Themis, that you said, you just want to hear what these men have to say. So that means that in those days you were about throwing 10,000 Black women's feelings under the bus, and now you're throwing 23,000, and you even attacked Cynthia with that question. I've been around enough good lawyers. I know what you were doing. And then you're going to pretend to be the dandy protector. And I know that you call yourself a dandy because that's what you call your blog. Thoughts of a Dandy, I believe that was. Do you know that I've looked up, you looked up the definition of consent. You know, I looked up the definition of a dandy and how that man is really no good when it comes to hard work for the people. You're an entire lawyer. You referenced Project 2025. You could have broken it down better than probably anybody I have ever known. And I don't know how you don't see the safety theater is not safe for you, since if somehow Project 2025 gets enacted across the country, ain't nobody gonna be checking people's Caribbean accents to make sure that they do harm to a Haitian. You're not safe either doing safety theater. Perhaps you've heard of the story of Stockton Rush. You come off as calm and caring about people, but when the chips fall where they may, not so much. Because you didn't protect your people on October 4th, and you didn't protect your people on June 17th, 2022, and you did not protect your people on June 18th, 2022, and the mistake you made was the same one Stockton Rush made. Stockton Rush brought David Lockridge in there, not understanding that David Lockridge didn't play about his stuff. I don't play about mine. Now listen, I kept the heart up here for a reason. I don't hate y'all. I don't hate you, Themis. I don't hate you, Cynthia. I'm enough older than both of you. I think, Cynthia, you have not aged in 10 years. I can't really tell. You're an exceptionally beautiful woman. You have not aged. So I can't tell if you're actually a little bit older than me. But I'm here as a sister to you both. I'm letting you know. You both live in a community, whether you are born in it or you are attached to it, that is in danger of imploding. Black people's net wealth in this country is going to disappear in the next 16 years. We are not on the front of the wave when it comes to crypto and AI, where the economy and commerce is going. You also have the whole BRICS movement, and most Black people do not know what that stands for. Not she's a brick house, and not because they're foolish and they're dumb. It's because they spend a lot of time watching content creators who are giving them safety theater. 7, 8, 10, 9, 11 hours going in circles for almost 3 years. But let me share something with y'all, and it's not to put you down. So I want you to understand something. Sometimes we fall into plantation running, shadow making habits because we don't see that there's another side. I was a Themis moderator on my spare time. See, there are content creators that have clout on the internet. Let me show you something. You have clout on the internet. I have clout. Anyone who followed what was in this book when I put it out a year ago, every $20 they invested is $61 today. I have clout. I don't need internet clout. I have clout. Let me show you something else. Actually, I gotta go find it. I forgot to pull it up ahead of time. I have clout because I'm responsible for the people that I'm responsible for. It's not something I play about because I have no need to do that. The things that I do for real. And because of that, I have a great deal of influence in the world. And I'm not going to be able to find this picture because I am a photographing fool. But just understand that there's a 14-story building that I have responsibility for, 12 living floors, and 3 similar to it as ownership. Meaning that you could take any high value man you want. Till he gets to 9 figures, he doesn't have as much responsibility as I have every day. For the lower high value people, I sign up on more contracts in a month than they make in a year. I don't play about mine. I don't do safety theater. I wasn't doing safety theater in 2022. That's why I left. Now, I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but I am going to say that the people who describe it basically still overlap. You do understand that if you go back over there to be beat up on again by whoever Themis chooses to bring on, Cynthia is going to say you consented to do it by coming back, and Themis has said you have contributory behavior. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you're participating in safety theater. And I want you to go back and think about Mr. Hypercube, Stockton Rush, who's now feeding the microbes at the bottom of the Atlantic. Well, not really. They did recover some of the imploded remains. But before they got there, 2 billionaires, a millionaire, a near millionaire, and a 19-year-old. Reduced because they stayed playing safety theater too long. See, I don't hate y'all. I don't. It's not in me. And see, there's something very important that Level Up Single Mom said when she was on Petty's show. She said while she was on Petty's show that when you come in an angry way, it does not allow people to learn. She used to come in a way similar to Cynthia G. But she learned that if you wanted people to learn and grow and change, you have to come with grace. And this is why I have chosen to come the way that I have. Because I don't hate y'all, but I do need you to get your life together. Get your life together. Playing around online with your 23,000 subscribers is not going to save you if Project 2025 or anything like it is enacted. And see, it's not only federal. I don't know what states y'all live in. It's none of my business to know that. In California, I have people out here writing our state legislature trying to shut down everything that's done for Black women because they're telling us that it's God's will that Black women die or are severely injured in childbirth. That's in California. These people's mothers, sisters, wives, and daughters work in healthcare. We are no exception when it comes to bad outcomes for Black women's healthcare. And this is why, Cynthia G, I have a secondary problem with you telling Black women every other time they get pregnant with a boy, they should allow these people that want them dead to be swinging around with sharp instruments and suction. You need to learn the history of how Black women were sterilized and how sterilization came back on the table in 2018 under Attorney General Brett Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III. You need to read up on that. Now you back down from getting that advice because you got some backlash about it. And Cynthia, just understand, all the data is still out there. Did I mention I'm a professional investigator? Safety theater doesn't make you safe. I need y'all to understand that. From someone who does not have clout online, I have clout. Around me, young Black people go to school on full rides. We ain't doing no student loans over here. Around me, 5 generations of Black women and some men and some other races of people live in all the safety we can provide them. And we had the entire white supremacy structure in this city have a problem with it and found out that I just handed them their problems. With the people I work with, oh, we just handed them their problems back. They done tried to snatch the parking. They done tried to figure out how to get their little friends to help them with the building. They done gone to the whole mayor of the city at that time before London Breed was in office. They got some Asian friends. Because my pastor's wife said people just didn't feel like we deserve to have that as Black people. But see, like I said, you have clout online. I have clout. And there are plenty of people like me who would be willing to even take, well, some people ain't gonna forgive you for that mess that you did, because neither of you have repented yet. But I'm just telling you, you can take your time and go on YouTube and learn about all kind of fascinating things that will help you secure yourself and everybody that you have responsibility for. You have 23,000 people you're responsibility for. And secure yourself better. Instead, y'all agreeing ahead of time to go trigger your followers. Unfortunately for you, some of them are my subscribers. I don't play about mine. You're going to keep on playing safety theater if you want to. I was quiet for 27 months because I don't spend my time watching y'all. I chose not to be in community with you. Chose not to be in community with you in 2022. But the reason I got to play David Lockridge is now you're hurting people that I care about. And I'm not going to have that in silence. No. Get your lives together. Because safety theater is going to destroy you too. And if you're not sure how that works, don't forget, I told you about Stockton Rush. If a big time white man can't get away with it, and situations can be arranged so that he is held to eternal account, ain't none of us playing safety theater, which is why I refuse to do it with you. You have been warned. And again, I don't hate either one of you. I don't. This is not presented to you. I have chosen to do what the two of you chose not to do. I have chosen to wait until I can present it to you calmly so that you can understand that this is presented to you. Themis, you something that you like tough love. Consider that this. This is tough love. This is me watching the two of you behave wickedly. And as a servant of the Most High God, letting you know, I'm putting you on notice. It's seen, it's observed, it is called out. You need to repent and change your behavior. Now, what you do from here is up to you. What I would prefer you not do is act such a fool that it has to come back to me, because I may just decide to sit up there and listen and break y'all down line by line from here. I might just have to do that. But I also don't have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours to give to y'all acting a fool. I just don't. But I had to make an exception here. All I'll probably just do is put it up on the community wall so people can see it again. Y'all out here playing safety theater. Themis, if you're going to protect your people, protect them. It's already been, what, 30 months since we met? 33 months since we met? If you're going to do that, do it. You getting out here and getting caught in a lie, or at least in a falsehood. Cynthia, I don't expect much better from you, but I know that you could if you wanted to. Both of you are highly intelligent. This is not a failure of intelligence. If under different circumstances, there are probably conversations that we could have on a highly intellectual level. And if either of you have been interested in doing anything but gin up drama for views, we could have had that. But we never will now. You can't come over here. Nope. But I would be glad to know if you choose not to stay on this highly self-destructive path that you're on, I will be delighted to know that you changed. And if you choose not to, y'all enjoy those consequences. You hear?